How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Mentor Monday. Mentor Monday is your weekly microdose of encouragement, inspiration, and miracle grow on your potential as a coach. Do me a huge favor, jump inside of the chat right now. Let us know that you are here. Tell us where you are joining us from, what you're excited about, what you feel life and momentum on. We're finishing out a series called No Ceilings tonight. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I need you to do me two favors. First, like I said, jump in here. Let us know that you are here. It's the only way that I can interact with you is you jump in the chat and let me know that you're here. Don't be anonymous. Be there. Let me know that you're here so that I can say hello. Also, do me a huge favor. Like and share this post. It tells Facebook and YouTube that we are doing a good job. And we want to get this in front of more coaches. And so you doing this, listen, if it's not good, you can always take your like back at the end. But we have a forward mission statement at Life Coach Training Institute. It's proficient coaches, thriving practices. Everything that we do is under that end. We want you to be an amazing coach. So we do a lot of things along the lines of coaching proficiency, also to help you grow as an individual. And thriving practices. We want you to be able to get clients. We want you to be able to leave that 9 to 5 and to be able to focus on your coaching career, live into purpose, all of those things. And so that's what we're here to do every time that we're together. And let me say hello to a couple of people who are saying hello to me. Next chapter, I don't know who you are. You have to put your name in there. From Arkansas, good to see you. Judy is joining us from Ohio. Karen is joining us from Georgia. Dan is joining us from Indiana. And Dan says, it's been a great series. Thank you so much. Daniel Bean, Elevation Life Coaching for Men. If you guys would, keep jumping inside of the chat. Oh, feel free. Hey, if you already have a website, you already have your coaching thing up, hey, throw that in the chat. I don't care. Let me help you get clients or something like that. So I have no problem with that at all. So say your name, tell us where you're joining us from, tell us what your niche is or whatever. Feel free to throw that in the comments. I'll light you up. I don't care. So do that. Who else do I need to say hello to? Angela says, oh, wait, it is Angela with next chapter. Good to see you. Robert's joining us from Hong Kong. Good to see you, Robert. If you guys would keep your comments coming in. Also, like and share this post. That tells Facebook and YouTube that we are doing a good job. And if it stinks tonight, at the end, right before you leave, you can just take your like back. You can unlike it. But I actually have a commitment every week to make it worth your time. We're helping you grow as coaches and also grow your coaching practices. That's what our end game is for. So keep those comments coming in. This is week 4 and the final week of this series, No Ceilings. We'll start a new series next week. We are talking tonight about how to make growth stick. And one of the things that I will tell you is when I say how to make growth stick, the things that we are talking about tonight are going to be relevant for your clients as well as relevant to you. So what we're going through tonight and what we're talking about, you're going to find a benefit and some helpful tools for both, which leads me to this. If you want the slides tonight, just text the keyword slides to 833-258-7547. Again, everything that we do, we're trying to help you grow as a coach. We want your skills to be better. We want you to actually be able to get clients and everything else. And so anything that I put together on the screen, I know some of you are taking copious notes. That's great. But I always have tools and I always have coaching questions throughout the slides each week that you can utilize. So text that keyword, just the word slides, to 833-258-7547. That will ensure that you get it. They're beautiful. And so just do that. It'll bring you, it'll bring you there. Kim's joining us from Arkansas. She says, my coaching clinic is called The Missing Piece, PEACE. Oh, that's really clever. I like that. Judy says her coaching practice is called Unedited Life, Redefining Success. And Judy's actually in Ohio. Cool. Awesome. Well, keep those messages coming in. It is time for us to jump into this last session of this particular series. Again, if you want the slides, text keyword slides to 833-258-7547. Now, where we've been over the last few weeks, we were following up a previous series that was You Are Your Own Ceiling. And this series has been once you confront some of the things that keep you from being able to move forward, what are the things that make you have a life that is no ceilings? What does it mean to live a life and to build a coaching practice that doesn't seem to have the limits? And so we talked about a few of these things over the last couple of weeks. Where we are headed tonight is if you have grown and if you have had breakthrough, how do you actually maintain breakthrough and be able to move forward in your life? Well, here's what I would say. A lot of times people think that to live a life of breakthrough and always having an upward trajectory in your life means that you've got to stay motivated. And so a lot of the things, and I'm not against motivation, by the way, but a lot of times what people think is if I have, and so what a lot of times people will listen to, they won't listen to practical steps a lot of times. They will listen to music, they will listen to speakers, they will listen to podcasts, and they'll do a lot of other kinds of things that have to do with motivation. Again, I'm not against that. I'm just saying that motivation has a place and it has a role to play in your life. But if you do not have motivation, it's going to undermine your success. What happens in the days when you do not have motivation? What happens in maybe even the months that go by and you're emotionally now, listen, there are coaching techniques and I teach them about how you can shift your mental state, how you can shift your emotional state, because when those things are serving you, and that's what they are, your mental and emotional states are servants, but so many people are mastered by them. And so it's great when you are thinking all the right things. It is great when you are motivated. It's great when you feel really, really good. Because when you feel really, really good, you seem to be able to work effortlessly and everything else. But sometimes we don't feel our best and we don't feel in a great motivational state. So, what does that mean for progress? And what does that mean for the gains that we have gotten? Now, I love to do some of the techniques that help people kind of shift these things, and they're relevant and they are good. But the reality is that sometimes life happens. Sometimes you're not going to feel motivated, even in your best efforts. Sometimes your emotional state when you wake up might be trying to dictate and tell you something that is not true. It's why, again, they don't need to be the things that lead us, because I can't wait until I feel good to do the things that I need to do in my life to maintain an upward trajectory. Now, I would say work on those things. Work on if you're not feeling good, you're not feeling good emotionally, the first thing you need to do is get out of bed and actually get moving. There's some of those things that are absolutely relevant. But that's aside, because we talked about momentum. We've talked about motivation and some of those things. But I want you to understand that there is a big difference and there is a big power source that many of us are not tapping into. And I believe that motivation is a power source, but it's a different kind of power source. It's a different kind of fuel. And I'm going to help explain the difference of these things so that we maintain an upward trajectory no matter how we feel or maybe even what we're thinking in a moment. So there's a difference between motivation and habits. And when I use the word habit, so you're like, I want to click off. Don't click off. That's why I didn't put it in the email. That's why I didn't title this thing anything about habits or anything else, because the last thing that anybody wants to hear about is routine. Some of these things, there's something in us that's kind of like, well, I don't want to do that. I'm instantly like not interested in wanting to do that. Well, here's the reality. Every one of you who are watching right now, you already have a routine and you already have habits. You already have a system in place. But it's not serving you well. It's getting you the same results. That's why we need to have this conversation today. So, if I was going to define these as different, I want you to think about this that big wins, they always feel electric. When you have a really big win, it's always really exciting, whether that's the first client, the first breakthrough. But here's what I'm going to tell you is that that motivation, that energy that comes from it is temporary. How long is that going to keep you motivated and keep you engaged? Is it going to work a week? Is it going to work a month? I don't know. I mean, it just depends on the kind of win. But winds are kind of like, well, they're kind of like trying to catch the wind. You know, if I could catch it and I could hold on to it, and I would say that there's some techniques, and I would encourage you to be a content person, to express gratitude. And when you have a win, that you can focus on that win and you can savor that win for as long as you want. And here's one of the things that I can tell you that it does in your brain. The more that you think about the win, the more that you think about success, the more that you're actually training your brain to think in that kind of way. Not in, and here's the thing is that your brain doesn't know the difference between a present success and a past success. It doesn't even know the difference between an imagined success. But you know what we do? We go negative all the time in most cases. So we dwell on what's not working. We dwell on the negative. This is one thing that I will tell you is that when you have any kind of a win, you can always go back there. You can always enter into that mental and emotional state, and you can not waste it and think about those kinds of things. But it's usually when you have some kind of a big win, what it does is that it ends up being very temporary for people. And it's not a sustainable thing. What has to happen is that any win that you get, you've got to hardwire into habits or they fade away. Motivation and momentum are emotional states, and they're actually really fleeting. And I don't know that most of you have thought about that, but we're talking about a state of being. It might be very temporary for some people. But I'll say this is that habits are what we would call repeatable systems, things that are in place that no matter what you thinking about, what you are feeling, whether you are motivated or whether you have momentum, that you have systems that are in place that will continue to repeat themselves. Because here's what I'll say. Everybody who's watching me right now, you already have one of those systems in place. The question is it bearing fruit that you want? Are you on an upward trajectory in your life? In which case, I would say maintain those systems. If it is not, then we have to have this discussion. Now, here's the way I'm going to describe it. The difference between motivation and habits is kind of like these two guys right here. On the left side is Mr. Consistency. That is habits. They're kind of boring because you can look, he doesn't look very well dressed. It's kind of like a machine. It's something that's just kind of going on, and you know what's going to happen every day of the week. It's kind of like your refrigerator that is always on and it is always running, and your refrigerator can run for years uninterrupted. It's a consistent, and you're not every day wondering about your refrigerator like you do your phone, right? Your refrigerator doesn't have to be rebooted every day and everything else. We expect it to show up and do the job. And that's what habits do. They show up and they keep doing the job, and they do the same job every day. They do the same job every day over and over again. But Mr. Motivation is, well, he's so sexy. Like, look at him. Mr. Motivation is sexy. He's excitable. He's motivating. When you see him, it's like he's all eyes is on this particular person. When Mr. Motivation walks in the room, you can see a cockiness, an arrogance, a take charge. I'm going to be a catalyst, and we're going to go do this thing like today. And there's a swagger about Mr. Motivation. But the problem is that one actually works better than the other in the long term. And here's how I'm going to explain it to you. If I had motivation versus habits, it kind of looks like this. If you're coaching someone, this is what I said. It's going to be relevant for you coaching people, but it's also going to be relevant for each of you. If I had motivation's the orange guy. Again, Mr. Consistency Habits is the yellow guy. See what motivation is able to accomplish in 3 months. Look, Mr. Motivation, he's got swagger. He's got it going on. He's super fast. And you know what you're able to do with Mr. Motivation is that in 3 months, Mr. Motivation can be there achieving a goal. This is what a lot of coaching does to people, is that coaching can, in the short term, help people get extraordinary gains and achieve a goal. And you think when you look at this, is that Mr. Consistency is not doing anything. It looks like habits aren't doing anything for us because look at where we're at in 3 months. Habits seemed to only get us about halfway, but Mr. Motivation got us in 3 months. Isn't that amazing? But here's what happens at that 3-month peak is that Mr. Motivation gets tired. Mr. Motivation actually starts losing steam. Mr. Motivation is sucking wind and kind of drops off, hits a plateau. Does that sound familiar to any of you who have started something and that motivation? Think about January. January, you're like, everybody's motivated. I want a new life. This is going to be my best year yet. January 1, we had these things in place. January 18th rolls around. That is the International Day of Quitting on Your Goals. Everybody quits by that day. At least about 95% of people quit. So if you've ever started something, but then you hit a wall, well, that's what the wall was. Is that you start out with great motivation and it looks really sexy and it's really exciting and everything else, and you hit a wall at a certain point. But see what Mr. Consistency is able to do. And see, I'll go back in time. See, at this 3 months, Mr. Consistency doesn't look like he's doing anything. He looks like he's getting his butt handed to him. But once we get to 6 months, you see that Mr. Consistency has actually eclipsed Mr. Motivation. And that's what 6 months looks like. But if we go a full year, this is what happens at a full year. Do you see what's happening to Mr. Motivation? Because here's what happens in your life. If you live life based on energy and being like, oh, I'm just like so motivated and I'm really excited, and then you hit the wall, because you can hit the wall in a couple of ways. You can hit the wall when things take longer than you want them to take. So that's one way that we can hit the wall. Or we seem to achieve something, and you know what we do? Because we don't have consistency, we get lazy and we don't maintain what we were doing. Think about when you were in school. Most of us were not great students, even if we made great grades. What do you do when you're a student? You cruise until about 3 nights before the test or the exam or a paper is done, and then you stay up all night. You do a crash, studying and everything else. You get it turned in barely, and then what do? You don't maintain your study habits. You know what you do? You go into cruise control. You're like, I've earned a break. I've earned the right to take off for a few days or a few weeks. And you know what you do? This is what you do. And so what happens is at a certain point, to regain motivation, whether things took too long or you just cheated because you were like this in your motivation, what ends up happening is that you end up trying to crawl out. You don't just plateau. You literally have to go against a major resistance. And that resistance is, well, now my motivation, my lack of motivation is actually working against me. And now you're trying to climb out of it just to get back to where you were before. Meanwhile, Mr. Consistency, he ain't sexy. He's not got the best shoe. He's wearing like these consistent New Balance shoes. You know, Mr. Motivation, he's wearing the best that Nike can offer or any of these other brands or whatever. We got this guy who's wearing these New Balance shoes, doesn't look too sexy, doesn't look too great. But I'll tell you one thing is that habits, that system will serve you for the rest of your life. This is the thing is, as we're coaching people, I always tell our coaches, we need to have new thoughts, but we've also got to have new habits. Because here's the reality. It's just because somebody is really motivated and they're working with a coach, you know what you can do as a coach? You can help somebody get to that I'm winning 3 months in or something like that. But you take the coaching relationship away, and what ends up happening is that you'll see a decline in that person and they won't keep achieving greatness. Greatness actually comes because the system that you have in place is a system that you are doing the right things, and the right things over time bring you here. The right things may not in month 1 get you here. It may not get you here in month 2. I understand. I still love motivation. Listen, if I can have motivation and consistency working together, I can absolutely crush it, and I can go really fast, really far. But if I had to choose one, I'm going to choose consistency, because consistency, those habits do not require motivation. They just require faithfulness on your part to do the things that you need to do. Motivation starts the fire, but it's habits that actually keep it burning. If you've ever started a fire, we have this cool little beach area that is, we're within 3 miles of the ocean where we are right now, or about a mile and a half, something like that. And we have this one really cool beach that you can drive your car out. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend driving your car out there, because sometimes people get stuck. But if you've got an SUV, you should be pretty good if you know how to drive on it. But we will drive right on it, and we'll have our wood in the back, and we will drop the wood out, and we'll dig a little bit of a hole, and we'll get things going. Now, when you start, you don't start with the wood. You don't, and it's going to, what you start with is kindling. So you have all these little pieces and things that will start up really quickly. Now, here's the thing, is that the kindling will burn, and it will create a really big flame. And they've got another little thing called Quick Start that you can buy these days, and it's a little block, and you can light it. And you know what it does? It comes into a flame really, really quickly. And if you do it right, if you stage your wood right, then what it's going to do is it's going to set the rest of the wood on fire, and the rest of the wood is going to burn for hours. But that kindling literally doesn't give you more than maybe 15 minutes, but it is an incredible start. It is an incredible motivator and encourager of the entire fire. We need both, in my opinion. So here's some coaching questions for you. What breakthrough have I experienced? This is what you're going to ask yourself. What breakthrough have I experienced recently that risks fading without a habit to sustain it? And you can have your clients ask these questions as well of themselves. What's one repeatable action that I could link to that breakthrough? I want you to look into your life, and I want you to think about those things right now, because we don't want it to fade. So how do we save that thing? But I want you to also understand that habits are actually transformative. They're really, really underestimated. And here's what I mean by that. James Clear, in his book, Atomic Habits, says every action is a vote for the person that you are becoming. I love that. I'd never thought about it before I picked up that book. And Joan Raymond, who's an associate coach trainer with us, a few years back, she had said, I read this great book. It's called Atomic Habits. And it sounded, well, it made habits sound better, because I always thought the habits were really boring, until I went through the book and I was like, dude, I'm actually really convinced now. I understand how systems work. But I never thought of habits being transformative. And here's how they are, because your brain actually loves habits and cues. So imagine this. You post one piece of content daily that is, on your social media, on your YouTube. I'm just using this as an example. Any one thing that you do in your business that and we had said a couple of weeks ago, there are some actions that seem to be more important than others. They seem to have more effect. They're more effectual than others. Whatever your actions are, imagine you do it daily. It's not about marketing. It's not about administration. It's not about any of those things. You know what it is? You're casting a vote. Every time you do that thing, you're casting a vote for, I'm a visible coach who shows up. There's something that's actually taking place. Every time you follow through, you know what you're doing? You're telling your brain, this is who I am now. Listen, I teach this in our life coach certification course. Some of you who've been through it, there's 3 steps to transformation. There is the aha, when we recognize we have a lens that we're seeing things in a certain way. And we have an aha moment that this way that I'm seeing is not serving me. And there's another option of how I can see or think, different lens of which I can approach the world, or my circumstances, myself, whatever. That second step is that you have to have a belief change. You have to change the meaning behind things. So the way that I show up in life, I look at a circumstance a certain way. The only way that I can approach that circumstance differently in the future is I have to have a new meaning about it. Some people have the meaning, if there's a challenge, let's say that they fail a test, they might say, "Oh, I'm dumb." And that's the meaning that they came up with. That's just, I'm not good at school, and that's what I would expect. Or you could have another meaning. The meaning could be, I need to find a new way to study. I need to prepare earlier. I need to find like there's any number of things. Why does it have to be the option that you're dumb? It could be a lot of different other things. But see, my way of looking at something and seeing myself as dumb is not helpful. That I have to reframe that. So, and I have to create a new meaning. Every time I fail, I can look at failure as an opportunity, a challenge, a growth point, whatever I want to. But see, the people who see failure as destructive to them won't do anything hard. That's why some of you haven't even started your coaching practice. That's why some of you have been watching me on video or Googling life coaching. You haven't done anything yet because you're so afraid of failure. You need to reframe failure, because the meaning that you have behind failure is actually keeping you where you are instead of allowing you to do something. So change it. You can change it. But see, there's a third thing. See, I can have an aha moment and I can have a new way of thinking about something, a reframe. But the third part is I have to have an action that is consistent with that aha and that reimagining, that rethinking about how I perceive something. If you don't have all three, like you can't just have action. That's what people do in January. They're like, I'm just going to action myself into something. Well, you've got to think differently about it as well to maintain that consistency. So we need all three. We need to constantly be challenging the way that we perceive. We've got to see ourselves and our circumstances differently, see the world differently. And then that third thing is that you've got to have an action that what it does is that it's teaching and retraining your brain to think differently about yourself and the way that you see things and the way that you show up. See, right now we have certain habits, and your habits are forming the sum of you right now. Everything that you have going on right now in your life, you can point to a handful of habits that enable you to stay in that place. You can't just motivate yourself. You can't just read books. You can't just do positive self-talk. There has to be some action that is consistent in your life that is different from what you're doing right now to help you become the person that you want to be. And if you will do those things, you are telling your brain, this is how we're showing up. And you know what your brain does? Your brain loves cues. Your brain loves habits. It loves programs. And it will start listening to you, and it will start producing a positive effect. It'll produce a positive mental and emotional state in your life that'll actually maintain your motivation so that you can keep moving forward. So here's a couple of coaching questions. Who am I proving myself to be with my current habits? Which habit today casts a vote for the coach that I want to become? Now, some of you have never been told this as coaches. I've hinted at this. I've more than hinted at this in our training, but goals always actually fall short. And here's what I mean by that. Goals are outcomes. They exist in the future. And they are positive things. But I'll tell you that systems are processes that exist in the present. And imagine this, you have a goal and it's like, well, I have a goal. I want to sign 10 clients. But you have a system in place that is 5 meaningful outreach conversations every week. See, the thing is that if you are only goal focused, if you're only focused on that end game, sometimes what happens for people that are so focused on the vision is that they get bored or they get dismayed or they get discouraged with the everyday. But it's the everyday that actually leads you up to the outcome. And consistency is your friend. A lot of coaches are not consistent. That is the biggest character flaw that I see amongst coaches. We talked a little bit about that a couple of weeks ago, but I watch coaches being lifelong learners. There's a lot of great things about coaches. One of the biggest flaws of coaches is that they won't be consistent. They won't change their habits. And that is the key to success long-term in anything. See, again, brain science is the brain loves predictable cues and rhythms. And what systems do is that they anchor action without waiting for motivation. Let me ask you this. Is this boring to you, what I'm talking about? I'm going to tell you again. You already have systems right now. You are already living inside of habits and systems, and they're not serving you right now. So give it a shot. Give it half a thought that if we change these things, we can get a different result. You don't rise to your goals. What you do is you fall to your systems. If goals were going to change the world and change people, then we would see that. It's actually their systems, it's their habits, it's their place every week. Now, here's a tool, and it's a habit builder. It's really simple. It's 3 things. One is one daily habit. What's one small, non-negotiable action that proves you're building your business? You need to know what that is. An example of this, you might DM one new person daily. I'd say DM more than that. But if you can send a direct message on your social media, whatever it is, I'm just giving you an example. What is one small negotiable action that proves you're building your business today and that you do that every day? 2, what's one weekly habit? What habit keeps you visible? Imagine going live every Thursday, no excuses. I'm not saying that that's what it is. I'm just giving you an example. That means you've got one daily habit that you are doing every day that you know actually moves the needle in your business. 2, one weekly habit. What habit is it that keeps you visible? 3, what is one personal habit? What habit keeps you sharp as a coach? That might mean reading 10 minutes. It might be a journal reflection. It might mean getting daily movement in some kind of way. This right here is a structure that will work for you, but it'll also work for your clients. Make sure you get those slides, folks. Listen, for those of you who need to actually get this done, you have not gotten trained and certified as a coach yet, I'm going to encourage you to get signed up inside of our Life Coach Certification course. We are fully self-paced. It is a fully online program, and it's an accelerated program. You can go as fast as you can go. And we started our school all the way back in 2014, helping coaches reach the dream of being trained and certified without going into debt, and also in an accelerated fashion, that you don't have to sit around for years trying to get this thing done. And also that you are working full time and you really need your own schedule. So that's the reason why we put this program together in the very beginning. Now, we are a fully accredited program, and this is the curriculum that you will be following. There are 7 core modules inside of the Life Coach Certification course. Foundations of Coaching, we help you understand what coaching is versus all other helping roles. In session 2, we watch a video of a coaching session, and then I give you all the nuts and bolts of actually what is in a dynamic coaching session. Sessions 3 and 4, we focus on the pitfalls of listening at lower levels and how to listen on a deep transformational level. We also move on from there to how to ask powerful questions that bring breakthrough and ahas. Also, we move on from there to how to help your clients get extraordinary results. What can you do and what structure is there that you can provide for your clients to help them set goals and achieve their goals and hold them accountable? And then session 7, which that session alone is worth thousands of dollars. We show you the beginning steps of how do you establish a growing coaching practice. We have some weeks where we just do live coaching practice on Tuesday nights with feedback. It also includes live Q&As on Tuesday nights as well. It's 30 hours of training that includes your live calls, Q&As, and role playing. Coach Connection, you're able to connect with other coaches who are part of the program. It also includes all your onboarding documents. We're saving you hundreds of dollars and about 100 hours of development so that you can just go right in, have your onboarding documents and welcome packet, coaching agreement, and all those other things. You can customize it to your liking. You're also going to start with a coaching tool starter kit, which is 6 coaching tools in addition to everything that you learn inside of the program. You're going to get a free listing on our directory that is ranked at the top of Google called lifecoachmatch.com. And of course, you're going to earn your certificate. This is a $3,500 value where you're going to learn coaching mastery. You're going to become credible through our accredited program. You're also going to be able to live into your purpose, into financial freedom, but we're not going to put you in debt to do it. We don't have a sales team. If you're wondering why other programs are so expensive, it's because they're giving half of your tuition to a sales team. So if you're looking at a $10,000 program, a $5,000 program, just know their sales team's getting rich, and they're probably making more money than any of the coaches are. Period. Just so you know, that is absolutely. And we get asked to schlep other people's programs to our students, and they offer us half of the cut. I would make more money just selling other people's programs, but that's not what we're in the business to do. We want to put you in the driver's seat, bring you into coaching mastery, give you all the tools that you need to be successful, and not put you in debt. It's only $195, but it is a $3,500 value. That link is inside the description of this video. It'll take you 90 seconds to enroll. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night coach training is another optional thing that we offer in addition to the self-paced program, so that you can connect with me, you can get your questions answered, and find other coaches who are in the trenches to keep you engaged, keep you supported, and also help you to knock out your assignments. Again, that link is inside the description of this video. It'll take you a whole 90 seconds to get enrolled. Do that right now. So, is there anybody else who I need to say hello to? Chris says, I'm in your course right now, and I love it. So good. And next chapter says, I just joined Jumpstart. That's our business development program. That is awesome. Well, cool. Well, let's do this. I'm going to get this video into a repeat cycle for the people who have missed it. But get enrolled. You can get started tonight. You can get started in the next hour if you would get enrolled right now. You can absolutely do this. Next week, we'll start a new series. But listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Don't forget to like this post. If you're here and you didn't like it now. You know I did my job. You're still in the room. You know I should get all of those likes right now, okay? All right, listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Have a great rest of your week, and take care.